Hi Kevin, Property Soldier here. This live that I'm doing today is going to be covering how to be getting Rent2SA deals from letting agents, because that's a very common question that people ask me with regards to that particular acquisition strategy in service accommodation. Now, I'm multitasking at the moment. I'm living onto a couple of different platforms, and so I'm also recording this for my podcast, Service Accommodation Property Podcast, where you'll get lots more information about serviced accommodation, and on my YouTube channel and also onto my page. So I've got some notes here that I'm going to be referring to, and covering all the different aspects and all the different points that you need to consider and implement when you are doing Rent2SA, and clearly when you want to target letting agents to be getting your Rent2SA properties. So a lot of people, the mistake that people make is they go into a letting agent and effectively, without convincing the letting agent otherwise, the letting agent can see right through it and think, well, you're just going to rent the property and then list it on Airbnb and booking.com. And people do still manage to get properties from letting agents that way, absolutely true. However, you should give yourself the best chance of success when dealing with letting agents. And so let's reverse engineer this, and let's create the scenario where you are going to have the best chance of success, service accommodation success, which is the title of my book. And so, yeah, absolutely. If you want to get more information on service accommodation as well, I've written a book about it, and the reviews are fantastic that I'm getting so far. It's averaging 4.8 on Amazon. It's been Amazon #1 bestseller in its category. And so, yeah, go and check out the book as well on Amazon, Service Accommodation Success. Okay, so the best way to get your service accommodation property from letting agents is to actually have your guests lined up in advance of asking for the property from the letting agent. So I know some people are saying hi to me on this live, but I'm recording this for a podcast as well. So what I'll do is I'll do the presentation if you like, and I'll come to Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions, then type them into the comments section as we go through, and then at the end I will come to answering any questions that you may have. So getting your guests lined up in advance of going in and seeing the letting agent. Now, you can do this even if you do not have any service accommodation properties already. So how on earth do you do that? That is the whole point of this live that I'm doing now in this podcast episode. So reverse engineer this thing. Create a company, and it's going to be your service accommodation operating company. So we always advise that you operate SA using a limited company. You've got limited liability insurance, and it's a more professional setup that you are presenting to your clients, to letting agents, to cleaning companies, laundry companies, etc., etc. So you go and set up your limited company, your operating company. You can do it for 15 quid. All right, it's really, really cheap. We'll get your accountant to do it. That's not hard. So I don't need to be talking about setting up a limited company. You can Google this stuff and do it yourself. Now, when you're calling your limited company something, so let's say it's ABC Property, make sure that the domain name is not already taken for that limited company. Important stuff, because you also want to create a domain name. So if abcproperty.co.uk isn't taken, then you take that domain name, and that's what you're going to be calling your operating company. And clearly, if your name's Dave, then you are going to end up with an email address, which is dave@abcproperty.co.uk. So it's really important, if you are a UK operating business, so I do have to put this caveat in, it's really important that you have a .co.uk domain, because .com, people think, oh, just go for .com, it sounds more global. But actually, when it comes to ranking, for your website, because I'm talking about setting up your website in a minute, ranking for your website, it's an awful lot better to have a .co.uk in terms of SEO, search engine optimization. For when people are searching and doing Google searches in the UK, they're going to see a .co.uk website before they see a .com website. So that's a really cool tip. Now, you want to then, I mentioned the website, you want to create a website for your brand, for your company. And so your ABC property, .co.uk, and your website is obviously that. And effectively, what you've now got is you've got your company set up, you've got your website set up. So you can also put on your website pictures, representative pictures of property that you would be providing for your clients. You don't have to have any service accommodation properties already. You can obviously just have examples of property that you are going to be supplying for your guests. So you can find these online, you can be downloading photos, etc., of this type of property. Now then, just referring to my notes, how do you then get your guests lined up in advance? Well, you've got your website, you've got your company name, etc. Now you want to start doing some research. You need to be targeting companies that require short-term accommodation. So in your local area, what companies need short-term accommodation? So you also want to be trying to research companies that are coming to your area that are going to need short-term accommodation. So ordinarily, if there's no SA available, they're going to stay in hotels. And this is for their visiting clients, employees, subcontractors, etc. Now, you should also create, as well as a website, you should also create a flyer, a PDF flyer showing what you are going to be providing for your guests. So again, you can be going on to Vistaprint or something like that and be creating a PDF flyer showing representative night rates, etc., of how much per person per night could be staying in this type of property. So you've got your PDF flyer, you've got your website. Now, you should also, so I've talked about contacting online different companies, etc., and researching those and reaching out to those. I'll talk more about how you do that in a minute. But you can also be taking your flyers to construction sites or places where there are people who, let's face it, are from out of town and they need short-term accommodation. You can be taking your flyers there and spreading your net far and wide and be getting yourself in a situation where you're going to have people say, yes, absolutely. If you're able to provide that for me at that night rate, you know, that much per person, then yes, we would definitely be interested in that. Because imagine at construction sites where people are staying in tired and dated B&B type property with a curfew and all that type of stuff, and then you're literally showing them a nice glossy flyer, which is a much better comparison. It could even be saving them money. You know, a lot of contractors have got a £25 per night allowance for their accommodation, and they might have to be topping that up to be staying somewhere else. But you could, for instance, say for 5 people staying in this 2-bed property, it would be £25 per night per person. And so, and it looked a lot nicer than the dated B&B. So again, that's how you can be getting your corporate clients lined up in advance of going to the letting agent and asking to be taking the property. And by the way, you've got your company set up, and so talking the script to letting agents is for another time, but you're going to be taking the property on a company let from the letting agent using your limited company. Now, what else can you do to get your corporate clients lined up in advance of going to a letting agent? You can visit all of the different hotels in your area, and guess what you're going to find in the car parks or parked outside is the tradesmen's vans with their email address and their phone number and their Facebook page and all of that stuff on the side. Okay, you can be taking photos of that. You can put your flyers under the windscreen, but only when they're on a public street. Don't go going onto the hotel's site. That's against trading standards. But if they're on a public street, public highway, then you can be putting your flyers under the windscreen wipers. That is absolutely fine. So again, you're getting more chance of these companies contacting you in order to say, yes, absolutely, give us more information. We are interested. But you could also be photographing the side of these vans and be emailing your flyer, emailing your website, etc. You could have an email template set up and send this out to all of these different people who are proving that they require short-term accommodation. In some of these hotels, you'll see 10 different vans from the same company. I mean, how much is that accommodation budget costing, all staying in a Premier Inn or something like that? So again, this is getting your guests lined up in advance of going and acquiring property from letting agents. So research the companies and businesses that will need short-term accommodation in your area. Okay, so you can go on the planning portal. Planning portal is going to tell you what is going on, what is coming to your area in terms of development projects and that type of thing. So you go on the planning portal and you will see the names of the companies who are going to be doing the work. So whichever building firm, for instance, is going to be knocking up the new build development down the road. And then you can be reaching out to that particular company, offering your services to them as an alternative to a hotel. You can be going on to business networking groups, and a lot of these are online nowadays, all right? So you've got your 4Ns, you've got your BNI networking groups. You can be reaching out for those and getting involved in either in person or online business networking. And again, what you are looking for, the referrals you are looking for, is companies that need short-term accommodation, quality short-term accommodation. Social media, so you can be going on social media and going on to LinkedIn. You're looking for the point of contact at these different companies that you can be reaching out to and sending your information to, and create a win-win situation where you're going to be saving that company money on their accommodation budget for their visiting guests, clients, subcontractors, etc., etc. You can find the company's Facebook page and be, you can bypass the gatekeeper sometimes by going straight to their Facebook, or find whatever their social media they are using, and you can be sending their information direct to people that way. So obviously you're going to contact these companies offering your services, and clearly you're going to be saving them money on hotels. Now, obviously, a lot of the time, the reaction is going to be, send us more information, and you've got your flyers, you've got your website information already lined up. So when you are contacting these companies and you get to speak to the person whose responsibility it is to be booking short-term accommodation, make sure that you record the name of the person who you are dealing with, that point of contact, right? So you need to be able to name drop that person, because as soon as you get the yes, absolutely, if you're able to provide that for me, we've got, let's say they've got 20 contractors coming to your area to do the new build development down the road starting next month. And so you want to record the name of the company and obviously the point of contact at that company, because guess what you can now do? You can now go into the letting agents or phone them up. So for a lot of the people that I mentor, I do this for them. I ring the letting agent, but in advance of ringing the letting agent, I want to know all of the information that I have just outlined. Okay, so what company is it that's coming? Who needs it? Who's the point of contact? And I get sent the Rightmove and Zoopla links of the property. So I'm phoning the agent or speaking to the agent, and literally the reason why I am looking to source said property on their website or listed, on Rightmove, etc., is because I have got 20 contractors coming from next month, and I need to be providing quality accommodation for them. Okay, and so that is why I'm interested in their property. I'm able to name the company. They can do their own due diligence and check out if this company is coming. They could contact the company themselves and say, "Oh, have you been dealing with ABC Property?" And they, yeah, absolutely. And so they're going to be providing our short-term accommodation when we come, and so that's absolutely fine. Here's the thing: letting agents don't. they won't actually bother. But the fact that you've named that person, and you've named the company, and you've named the development site that's happening down the road, do you think that's a lot better than just saying you want to rent a property from them and list it on Airbnb? Okay, so this is how I find it's so much more compelling, and you have so much more volition when you are going to the letting agent with your guests already lined up. Because a lot of people, the leap of faith is, I get, Kev, will service accommodation work? If I let's say it's a R2SA, if I pay the rent and I pay the deposit and I get the property furnished, is it going to work? Because we talk about doing all the due diligence, running the numbers, working out the night rates, working out the costs. What is the likely occupancy going to be? Based on that, will the deal work? And so doing your deal analysis. And so based on all that, I say to people, yes, if you've done all that work, let me see the spreadsheet. It works, yeah, fine. But then it's still, can I press go on this? But actually, if you've done this preparatory work in advance, that's going to give you the confidence that it's definitely going to work. Because not only have you got your clients lined up in advance, and let's say you've got multiple different companies saying yes if you were to provide it, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, but multiple companies saying yes, we are definitely interested, then you've also got the ability to be getting guests in from booking.com, Airbnb, or your own website, etc. Google, you can be listing your business on Google now for free as well. So it's just going to give you a much better feeling and have a lot more confidence that you're doing the right thing. But it's also going to show, the letting agent is going to be able to see in you that you've got your guests lined up, you've got your corporate client lined up. So let's say the company, the development company needs, I'm actually thinking of a specific example where I was ringing a letting agent on behalf of a mentee of mine, and they actually needed accommodation for at least the next 6 months. And so it worked, and it's for a particular development site that was happening down the road, and they were able to get their first property from a letting agent. And often you find when you get your first property from a letting agent, then the next one follows, and the one after that follows, because if you're keeping the property in show home condition and you are paying the rent every time, and the letting agent isn't having to do any work here, they're doing their inspections and the property is immaculate, and there's no problem tenants to manage because you're the tenant, then the letting agent is going to think, do you know what, let's do another one. And it's important to remember here with letting agents is that you represent more money for them when you're walking in the door, because you want to take the property on a company let instead of a normal buy-to-let tenant walking in through the door, because they're not able to charge them tenant referencing fees, but they are able to charge your company tenant referencing fees. So actually they get more money for less work when you are taking the property from them. Now, don't worry about it being a brand new limited company. I explained that we're just setting up in the area, and so we've started a brand new limited company. So it won't pass the credit reference, but that's fine, because we will stand as a guarantor. So whoever the owner of the company is, so let's say it's your limited company, you tell the letting agent you'll stand as a guarantor for when it doesn't pass the credit referencing check. And letting agents are perfectly used to people and companies not passing these, because some of these credit reference agencies need an awful lot of turnover, etc., and track record to pass these. So they're used to the tenant, the referencing company coming back and saying didn't pass. However, they could stand as a guarantor. So that's absolutely normal. And by the way, GDPR states that the tenant referencing company cannot tell the letting agent just how much turnover you have got, i.e. zero. They cannot say all of that personal information that they have got on your limited company. They just say didn't pass tenant referencing and so needs a guarantor, and you just step up to the mark as a guarantor. A lot of people, if your own credit score isn't high, you just need somebody else to stand in for you to act as a guarantor. So that, folks, is the best way to be getting R2SA properties from letting agents, is to have your guests lined up in advance. And it's just going to make it so much easier for you to be convincing the letting agent to be doing it if they can see that you are a professional outfit and you've got corporate clients lined up. And let's face it, if you have got corporate clients lined up, and remember, you know, at the moment there's lockdown restrictions taking place at the time of this recording, but hey, guess what? You can be key workers, contractors, people that have to work. They are the best types of clients anyway, because they are the ones that need property for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. So they are where the money is. Yes, when there's no lockdown restrictions and we're benefiting from the staycation boom, then you've just got the best of both worlds. You've got the leisure guests as well as the contractors all lining up to be booking your service accommodation property. So there's more demand, that type of scenario. And when there's more demand for something, the price of that thing goes up. So absolutely, you mustn't worry about what is going on in the marketplace, because, you know, observe the masses, do the opposite. As long as you've got the right training, as long as you've got the right education, then you are still going to be able to prosper, because other people that are doing SA and they've only got the property listed on Airbnb, they have got all their eggs in one basket. So I'm talking about having multiple ways of getting bookings. So your website listed on Google, on all the different platforms, but also be going and sourcing your clients yourself, got your own Facebook page, etc., etc. Go and do the extra yards to be getting your clients yourself, because you'll make an awful lot more money out of service accommodation by doing that, and you'll be able to prosper. Because when a lot of people panic and they're handing back rent to SAs, they're handing back management properties, they are turning their SAs into buy-to-let, putting a buy-to-let tenant in them, then as far as I'm concerned, that's great, because there's less supply then, and the demand keeps going up. So hopefully you found that useful. Here's to your serviced accommodation success, and remember, your future needs you. Okay, so I have now done my podcast episode. Have I got any questions? So anyone got any questions for me? If not, I will leave you to the rest of your Sunday evening. I've started a new platform. I'm using StreamYard to be living onto my YouTube channel. So Property Soldiers, my YouTube channel, and my Facebook page is Property Soldier Facebook page, and I'm also living into the progressive property community. So I need to be checking the different platforms to see where the questions are coming in. So no one's got any questions for me. So lots of people saying hi to everybody. But if you haven't got any more questions for me, that's fine. Hi, Asma. I am going to leave you to your Sunday evening. So take care, everybody, and I will see you all soon. Francis, you're very welcome. Take care, everybody. And so who's that? Latoya McDonald, I really enjoy your podcast. So thank you very much, Latoya. I'm hopefully giving lots of value for everybody. So yeah, my book, what's that? $8.95, something like that. And the podcast, clearly that's free content. This is free content. So hopefully giving lots of value to everybody. Those of you that want to come on my trainings, you know, you can go via my website, etc., to get you booked onto the next training, and an awful lot of the training is free. And so yeah, you can go and check out the website and get that extra training on top as well. So I don't have any more questions. Chris, you're very welcome. So take care, everybody, and see you all soon.